Hi, I'm Stacy Bauman, and this is my reflection on Module 1. It's also my introduction to the class. Like I said, my name is Stacy Bauman. I am a senior. Will graduate this fall from FIU with a Bachelor of Science in Early Childhood Education. I currently teach, which might sound a bit strange. I teach dental assisting and dental hygiene at Palm Beach State College. I'm an adjunct instructor. I teach clinics and labs, skills labs, clinics. I do some lecturing uh, as I am qualified for. I really enjoy my work. I love working in the state college, which I am an alumni of. I love working with the diversity of students. I'm finding that to be very interesting, especially as I'm learning so much more about diversity and urban schools and how to make connections and everything. It's just really fascinating. And even though I'm an early childhood education major, so much of this still applies, even in teaching adult education like I do. And we have students, anywhere from first year out of high school, say 18, 19, to, late 30s. I think we even have a student in her 40s this year. And it's really coming together, and I'm really becoming a much better teacher because of it. So more on that later, but I'm taking this class because it's required for my degree. Um, but I am looking forward to this class because just having started reading, I can see how much it's going to be applicable to what I do in my everyday teaching. Before I get into that, I'm supposed to talk about some of my personal things and my family. I've been married for 26 years to my high school boyfriend, and we have 3 children, ages 25, 21, and 20. I am proud to say that I have one college graduate who is a chef. I have another who, and that was a college graduate of University of Florida. My other is a senior at FAU's Honor College in Jupiter, and my youngest is currently at Florida State University. So I'm very happy that they're all out of high school and in college, succeeding in life, and my husband and I take great pride in that. I went back to school when my youngest graduated from high school because I thought it was time to finish my bachelor's degree. I also would need to have it in order to increase my responsibilities at Palm Beach State College, where I work, like I mentioned, in the dental health education building. I'll be able to take on more responsibility as well as possibly becoming full-time faculty with a bachelor's degree. And the reason why I can do that is because you have to have one degree higher than what you teach. And what we're teaching is either an associate in science degree for our dental hygienists, or it is a certificate program for our dental assistants. So having a bachelor's or higher enables me to teach didactic classes. I do, however, want to continue on after this fall when I graduate with my bachelor's, and I would like to continue on and get my master's. What I am struggling with, though, is what concentration I want my master's in. So, more to come on that later. My reflection on these readings, I especially liked Sonia Nieto. I don't know if it's Nieto or Naito or Nieto. I'm sorry to be butchering her last name, but I really enjoyed her writing. At first, when I saw it was 14 pages, the first one was like, oh boy. But then I got into it, and so, very quickly she said how teachers and schools respond to our most vulnerable children often determines whether they will succeed both in school and in life. And that is that to me is pretty powerful, because we do have so much influence on children in school, or even students that are not children anymore. We have so much more influence than I think we realize, and we need to be better stewards of that influence, and we need to really think long and hard about ourselves. And like the author went on to say, that we need to acknowledge OSF, or out of school factors, and how children experience school, and how their background and out of school factors may affect their learning. Very true. I mean, just because, we have safety and food and shelter and ease of life doesn't mean that everyone does, and we need to stop expecting that to be the case, and shift our thinking from immigrant children being foreign to being an asset to our classroom, bringing an enrichment of different cultural knowledge and experience that can be a plus. And later on, I remember she was saying, if you're teaching, even if you're teaching a foreign language class, say, I believe it was her daughter was teaching Spanish in middle school, and she thought it was great to learn about her students and if they spoke any other languages. And, to be able to pepper that in and say, like, for instance, hey, so-and-so, how do you say apple in Swahili? I believe was the example given. That's interesting. That's being able to learn more about other cultures and experiences and foods, languages, and people, and clothing, and traditions and religions is something that I wish I would have had more experience with growing up. I didn't at all. I was a very white middle class kid in a white middle class neighborhood, going to a white private school where I'm embarrassed to say, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word. I mean, but when I say I was very insulated and really learned nothing about other cultures, religions, I went to a Southern Baptist school. I graduated with 17 in my class. We were all white. I think there were a couple second, third, fourth generation Hispanic kids in the high school. There were zero Black or Asian. I mean, there was really just, and when I say no other religions, there weren't, because it was a Christian school. So it was very, very monotone, very vanilla. And so teaching now, even though, again, I'm not teaching children, I'm teaching adults, it's a very different experience. It's not what my school experience was. So I have so much to learn. I'm continuing to learn. I already have learned, as this is I just completed my 4th year of teaching as an adjunct. And I found it interesting that, again, Sonia said that we need to confront our biases and preconceptions, that we all have them, and it's true. And when she was interviewing Mary Ginley, who happened to be the Teacher of the Year in Massachusetts, she wrote about how middle class and narrow-minded she could be without even realizing it. Yes, I feel that way about myself. And she wanted to discover how to make school successful for all children, regardless of their last name. I thought that was powerful. And it's something that I definitely want to work on and learn more about how to do myself. As I would say, my class, even though we have a small group, is made up of, it's very diverse. We have Haitian, Jamaican, Dominican Republic, Cuban, Puerto Rican, African American, white, I think that, and Asian. And that was just this year out of 48 students. So every year it changes, and there's just so much diversity and so much to learn. In order to give everybody a successful experience. The last thing I have to say is what I loved. There was a mention of a good way to learn about your students was by writing them a letter at the beginning of the year, telling them about yourself and like what you like and don't like, what your hobbies and favorite foods are, where you live and stuff like that, and then assigning them for homework a letter from them to you, telling you all about them. It's a great way to learn about them, and you can have it on paper and reference it if you need to from time to time. Lastly, I know I've gone a little bit long here, but lastly, she said that she remembered as a child in school, she remembers being told it was rude to speak Spanish in class, and that it still bothers her to this day, that it invalidates and it made her feel invalid, her culture, her language. And the reason why I remember that, and I'm going to bring it up at our next staff meeting, is that I don't even know if I should say this, but I mentioned how many different languages are spoken in our building, and it has been a policy that they are to speak English and that they're not to speak Spanish or Creole or whatever other language they may be speaking. We also have a girl who speaks Arabic. They're not to speak to each other in that language, that they're only to speak in English. And that kind of made me uncomfortable. And now I know why. It was valid of me to feel that way. And so I'm definitely going to be bringing that up again, because I just think perhaps that needs to be revisited. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the rest of this class. I'm looking forward to it benefiting me as a teacher and my future endeavors. And I'm sure I'll be seeing you soon.